Greetings, hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, and good night, whatever it is, wherever you are. Hello, and a very warm welcome to the channel. The sun is hiding, and the magpie is casting. Coming to you guys right now with a live 1 versus 1 battle, fresh from the ladder. Featuring spawning in the north, it's going to be the Soviet forces of Para. And spawning in the south, it's going to be the OKW West forces of Disturb1ng, who's clearly disturbing. I just, I always say it that way the first time for some reason. And the map today is going to be Langrskaya, so I don't think that this map actually was changed in the December the 3rd changes. I'm just having a quick pan around here, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't. Sorry. So, we should all be quite familiar with this map, of course, for those of you who aren't. It's quite small, but very open, limited opportunities for flanking, and most players tend to be critical because of the size of the map. It's very easy to punish and or be punished for any mistakes that you might make. Now, I'm going to apologize in advance. I did just have quite a large quantity of very spicy noodles. They were very delicious. However, I now have something of a face issue with the heat from the noodles. So anyway, I'll manage that as best I can as we move forward with this cast. Seemingly, the build order from our Soviet player, conscripts into conscripts, and for our overcommand player, he's gonna Volks into Kubel. The Wagen just now making its fearsome presence known on the field by capturing a point. Seemingly the Soviet player Para, he's going to be focusing the majority of his forces on the right-hand side of the map, looking to shore that one up. There is a squad of Volksgrenadiers, rather the thorn in the Soviet player's side right now. They did manage to get into this building, however they've come out just to engage these engineers. Just 1 second. Seemingly, it seems like the Axis player is going to have most of the left-hand side of the map to himself. Actually, no, I take that back. There is a squad of conscripts moving out and making some ground on that side. For Para, neither player's chosen their commander off the bat, which isn't surprising. Let's have a look, see if we've got anything interesting on the lineups here. Well, we've certainly got the Feuersturm Doctrine. That's an interesting one, which I hope that we'll see used, but find it unlikely. And then we've got Armoured Assault Tactics. We don't see him very often, so he gets the IS-2. He also gets the T-3485 upgrade. So that commander a lot better since they changed the way T-3485s work, actually. Advanced Warfare Tactics. This is probably my single favourite Soviet commander. He's just a really good all-rounder who I enjoy using. And Mechanized Support Tactics. So that's an ISE-152 commander. And if the game goes to that stage, actually, the ISE-152, when parked here or here, has very, pretty much locks down 2/3 of the map. So that could be quite the potent tool. It's a good insurance policy for maps like this if it gets to the late game and you need a bit of a boost. Kubelwagen here just going to be driving straight on in. I can't help but feel this is a bit of an ambitious click here from the overcommand player. Yep, he's going to see it almost straight away. Get the Kubelwagen out of there for minimal damage. Inflicted onto it. These Storm Pioneers are going to be turned aside by these conscripts. They're going to have to go back and reinforce, and an expensive reinforce that will be for disturbing. So it seems like we've reached a little moment of quiet here. Let's take a look here at the Soviet teching. He's gone tier 1, of course, because we see a Maxim on the queue. He also has access to those mortars and the ZIS division field gun. We'll see if he chooses to bring any more of those units onto the field. This is a decent map for mortars. Because of its size, mortars cover quite a large area, relatively, of the map. So there's that. Kubelwagen comes on back. That hasn't been repaired yet, but it's going to get some damage done at last. The Nubelwagen, as I'm now calling it, is one of my... It's just really quite fun to use, actually. I'm really enjoying it. It does do good damage, and of course it's quite easy to get it's that 1-star veterancy where it becomes a fantastic detector. And on a map like this, you could stick it just here and turn on detection, or just here and turn on detection if you wanted it on the left flank, or, I don't know, maybe just somewhere around here, just turn on detection if you wanted it to cover the right flank. And it does give you a lot of good intel, and I have to say, I haven't really seen players using detection mode that often, which baffles me to some extent, because you can turn it on and off quite quickly. So if the Kubelwagen becomes threatened and you need that mobility, you can just turn it off, move it, and then turn it back on, or turn it off, take a fight, and then turn it back on, or whatever you want to do. I find it quite flexible. Anyway, I can hear a Maxim chacking away. That seems to be here. Unfortunately, I did miss those shots that it was taking. We've got a scuffle here on the left flank. Seemingly Para trying to make a play for some points here, but there are some stormtroopers. They're going to chase these conscripts away, but not be able to get rid of them, actually. Annoyingly, the conscripts being able to get into a building, and that's going to be frustrating for Disturbing, who's going to have to move away his... Storm Pioneers. Of course, they won't do very much good approaching a squad of conscripts in a building. Here's some Volks, though. And they'll be able to get into this heavy cover, and they'll be able to trade with these conscripts for quite some time. And in fact, given that the conscripts are already on half health, this should be a fight that those Volks can take. Maxim Gun's going to get set up, capping mid, and this is really nice if he puts the arc. I would prefer if he caps from just here, he can have the arc like this, and that covers quite a lot of stuff. But I'm sure he'll be fine where he is. Kugelwagen with some Volks Grenadier going to be doing a number on these engineers here. Now the flamethrower upgrade is on those engineers, but I don't think it's going to be enough for them to pick up the Kugelwagen. I don't know. Yeah, there we go. Quite a lot of damage being put on the Kugelwagen there, and that's a unit that's now in need of repairs. It should probably pull back, and it looks like seemingly it is going to go back. Those Storm Pioneers, let's see, where are they now? Capping the fuel point over on the far left, so quite a long way from the Kugelwagen. Here comes the first truck, and this is quite a late truck, I think. Most players would have gotten a Schwerverband Schlepper by now. He's going to look to deploy that truck in his base, and I think he's going to go for an in-base battle group at HQ. Rolls eyes, deep sigh. Of course, everybody who's been watching the channel for any amount of time will know that I'm not really a fan of putting the the Schwerverband Schlepper battle group at HQ in your base. I think that it's much better placed out, even just on your base's doorstep or something. But in the base is just kind of annoys me. I don't think there's a very good spending of that much fuel and manpower and so on. Anyway, that's what he's going to do. So he is going to have healing and access to the flak half-track, the infrared half-track, and the Lieg indirect fire gun. Wow, this conscript's just staying in the fight. This is super risky. I think he really should get out. I know the target is firing at... Oh, I see. He's not getting out because he's getting value by capping this point. Risky play, but it looks like it's easily going to pay off, seeing as how there's nothing that can threaten this conscript. So maybe not as risky as I'm making out there. On the right flank, there is some pushing going on. Some Axis forces were pushing, but they've been turned aside by the efforts of this Maxim, I believe. This Volk squad falling back. So, I don't know. Taking a look at the scoreline, 4-5-4 for the Allied player, 4-9-4 for the Axis player. But the Allied player is ahead on the board right now, I would say. Actually, having said that, the supply tells a completely different story. 45 for Disturbing versus 25 for Para. But I don't know, this advanced position that the Allied player has managed to penetrate through to here is pretty good. He's got this victory point, he's going to grab the fuel point for a little while. So that's pretty good. However, I suppose... yeah, he's capping this right in fuel point. So I genuinely think the Soviet player is actually ahead on the board right now. He's just behind on score, so it's pretty much an even game. Pretty much an even game. Is this a second wagon, or is this the first one that's been repaired? This is the first one that's been repaired, so Kugelwagen returning to the fray, going to look to get some damage done. One thing I find quite nice with Kugelwagens when you're microing them is just use A-move, and ranges like this, just use A-move, and they'll naturally position themselves at reasonably long range, long enough that they'll be trading well against most infantry squads. So you can just nudge them in with A-move if you feel like it. These aren't Fallschirm Jaeger, these are Jaeger Light Infantry. So a doctrine has been chosen here. It's a scavenge doctrine here for Disturbing. Probably the best all-round over-command doctrine, in my opinion. And that's going to enable him to deploy the elite long-range infantry. Now, taking a fight at this range is not the most efficient for that squad, but they are getting some work done. Now, on the right-hand flank, it seems to be a much more passive affair. Soviet forces getting a lot of capping done, and if this Maxim wants to deploy in this building, and I hope it will once it's done with that point, that'll be a really nice strong point for the Soviet forces, and that'll probably necessitate a Lieg or a multi-pronged assault to dislodge. So I like the idea of putting this Maxim in this building. Let's see if Para likes it too. It looks like they're heading for the door, and they are brilliant. So he's going to be able to angle this gun around here and start getting some work done, perhaps. Now, I'm not sure if these Volks are going to be in range. And actually, in any event, it won't matter because they're going to fall back. And if we take a look at the teching here, we've got the Tank of the Battalion Command, and the Su-76 is coming out right now. So this is at the 8.5-minute mark. Not particularly early, but fairly sharpish. And that's going to have quite a lot of impact on the field, and it needs to, because if you look at the top left and look at the top right, there are actually more Volk squads and Storm Pioneers and Jaeger Lights on the field than there are engineers and conscripts for the Soviet player. So he's going to be relying heavily on this one Maxim to get a lot of suppression done if he's going to be able to take any fight. Now, his engineers do have flamers, so they're a fully fledged conscript squad. Fully fledged combat squad. So the Su-76 is going to get set up in a decent position. I was going to say, look to see it use indirect fire, and it gets a fantastic first shell. These Storm Pioneers need to reposition. Oh my god, another near miss coming down. They're going to move for damage on these engineers. Possibility of a squad wipe coming down, but no, the suppression from the Maxim is going to be enough. And there comes the fallback from both forces. Wow, there's some Jaeger Light Infantry well back behind the lines, going to get the squad wipe on that engineer squad with Flamer. And the forces of Para fighting well, but perilously outnumbered. He's floating like 400 manpower, so he can afford to buy something, and I think he really needs to. Another Maxim, I think, would be a smart choice. An incendiary grenade. No, it's the grenade barrage goes down on the Maxim. That's going to do devastating damage. Oh my goodness me. So there's only one man left. He's going to try and fall back, and he should be able to get back. Uh-oh, Kugelwagen here for the chase, though. Maybe the Su-76 has something to say about that. But the little wagon going to dodge the first shot and try and roll on out of that. Whoa, somehow manages to get away with the second. Oh, rolls into a minefield. That's a 2-for-1. Wow, that minefield killed some Volksgrenadiers and a Kubelwagen. Quite the swing there. And all of a sudden, Para doesn't look nearly so outnumbered. So, wow, a really nice pickup there for the Soviet player, who's also got a little bit more veterancy above his forces, generally, than the Axis forces here. Disturbing not got a star over many of these squads, although two of the Volk squads close. In fact, yes, many of his squads close to that 1 star. It just appears that Para's beaten him to it on most of those. Oh wow, the Su-76 is actually in a position here where I think it's still in range for a Panzerschreck to come out of this building. Pardon me. And whoa, what's the Su-76 doing? Whoa, it's getting picked apart here by Panzerschrecks. This Panzerschreck now in range. Oh dear, terrible positioning on the Su-76. Looks like it may get away with this, maybe. Oh, 2 misses. It is going to get away. Fantastic luck there for Para. That was terrible positioning, and then making it do a U-turn rather than just reverse out of there was dire. He's lucky to get away with that Su-76. No doubt that was a mistake, but he seems to have gotten away with it, as is often the case. So, yep, he's going to be able to keep the Su-76 in play, and he's going to need it because there's a bit of an Axis assault going on right now. We've got a squad of Volks pushing on the right flank. No answer there. We've got 2 squads pushing here. It's the Jaeger Lights and the Storm Pioneers pushing left, and then in mid we've got a reasonably concerted assault. A stolen Maxim gun doing work on conscripts, combined with some Volks who are actually just now forced back by Maxim. So being aggressive across the map right now is Disturbing, being active with all his units, and a mortar squad going to be the choice in response here, as well as a half-track for the Soviet player. So let's see. The quad AA mount is coming down on that half-track, which I quite like, because there are Panzerschrecks, but apart from that, there's not a lot of like super hard anti-tank in the Overcommand force. So I quite like the choice here to go for the AA half-track. Is it 120 munitions to grab the... Yep, 120 munitions for the quad mount. And we'll see if he's able to get any use out of that. If he does lose it, and it is quite soft, it will be an expensive loss, but wow, look at the damage this thing does. He just needs to hold still. It's much more accurate if you're stationary. Much more accurate if you're stationary. Here we... No. Oh. Okay, well, he's just going to go for the chase. So that'll work fine. Here comes that mortar squad now for the Soviets. Remember, the Soviet mortar squad, lower on rate of fire, but higher on accuracy. Also has the 6-man squad thing going for it. And once it starts vetting up, it's pretty potent. Whoa, this half-track is going to start wrecking through these MG teams. Why does he keep moving it? That would be quite happy just staying stationary, dackering that MG team. And there are some Volks over here, actually. They're going to be getting hit by the indirect fire mode on the Suchka here. So... they're a little damaged as they move into the flank of this MG. Now, now he needs to start moving his half-track. Now it's in a bad place. Let's get the half-track out of here now. There we go. Para's on top of it. And I think there could probably... Yep, there's the incendiary grenade. Going to come down onto this Maxim, which needs to fall back yesterday. He's going to need to fall that one back. He does, but I don't know if the crew are going to be able to get out of there, if they're going to burn to death. They're just going to scrape out, so fair enough. Panzerschreck coming into the rear arc of this half-track, which does suppress them, but it takes another hit, so this half-track now in jeopardy, needs to get on out and repair. 1 star of veterancy, 4 kills on that unit, so a quick and efficient use of that half-track so far. Soviet player still floating quite a lot of manpower and still hasn't chosen his commander, so options there for Para. Let's just take a look and see if he's doing any teching. None to speak of just yet. In fact, he doesn't have the fuel for the Mechanized Regiment HQ. On the left flank, these Storm Pioneers, wow, they're probably almost certainly going to get the squad wipe. I feel like if he just stayed still with this unit, he would have gotten the squad wipe, because that increases their rate of fire considerably. Wow, he's still going to get it. Very long range moving shot there from those Storm Pioneers. So unlucky for Para there, I feel. The mortar squad here is going to get flushed by the Jaeger Lights. And as I crack the tack now, we've just got a moment here. If I crack the tack, you can kind of see the story. Now, I would say generally the Axis player has the upper hand. I haven't had a look at the scoreline for a while. What is it? 4-3-1 to 4-5-2. So yeah, I would say the Axis player has the upper hand. He's ahead by about 19 or 20 tickets. And he's got a good force composition, pushing and being aggressive, and a nice line right the way across the map. He's also, as you can see, deployed to Schwerer Panzer HQ in a very defensive but still not useless position. That cannon will reach to this command point, and it also covers a number of other points. So looking all good. How much fuel does he have? 140. So we could look to see a Panther in the not so far future, or a Panzer IV or a Jagdpanzer more immediately. In fact, a Jagdpanzer would not be bad, because there are targets out here that the Jagdpanzer would be effective against. So Jagdpanzer could be good, but he looks like he's going to go for Obersoldat at this juncture. Whereas from Para's point of view, well, let's see. He's badly depleted on frontline infantry. He needs the ability to call in guards or shops or something, because I feel like conscripts aren't coping. Or indeed, actually, he could get more conscripts, take this Advanced Warfare Tactics Commander, and grab the conscript assault package. That would make his conscripts a lot spicier. But there's only 1 squad of conscripts left on the field right now, and I kind of feel like he's just kind of flailing in the face of a vaguely of a like markedly superior force. not vaguely, markedly. So yeah, he has 2 Maxim guns, which I like, and he's floating like 365. He's gone and chosen his commander. He's gone for the armored assault tactic. So what does this give you? Radio intercept, T-34s. Okay, so I don't especially know what prompted him to choose this commander at this exact moment. No, but anyway, seemingly he's gone for that commander just now. So maybe it was for vehicle repairs? Does he have engineers still? Yeah, he still has some engineers alive. Not sure. Anyway, the flak half-track here, that's going to be mowing down these this squad of Volks. Oh, it's going to get the squad wipe. It is still super vicious, this thing. Oh, up to 2-star vet now, and it's just going for this Volks grenadier. He just needs to hold it still. Hold it still. Why is he racing ahead? There we go. I'll do it. There we go. Attaboy. So, doing something to even the odds there, and both forces actually looking a little thin on the ground. I mean, Para looks super depleted, and he needs to call in more squads of conscripts, or go for penal troops or something, because I just feel like he's getting picked apart. He loses the mortar, unfortunately. That's going to get mowed down by a Maxim here. Using his own Maxim, though, to take care of these oversoldats, so that's something of a pickup, forcing the elite infantry squad, which is very expensive, off the field. Panzer IV is going to get the better end of this engagement, though, coming straight into the rear armour of the flak half-track, and it kind of was risky just positioning that unit out in the middle of the field, hosing down infantry with no information about what's coming. So, and you know, round about this kind of time in the game, you have to expect your overcommand opponent to be coming out with some kind of armour. Looks like the Panzer IV is going to take down the flak half-track. That leaves the Suchka here to defend the base, which it'll do for now. But when that Panzer IV is repaired and comes back, it may be able to just take out the Suchka by driving round and round it. So Para's going to have to be careful of that. So let me just crack the tack and see what we got going on again. So I don't know. I mean, the Soviet units just look a little thin on the ground. This is not as many Soviet units as I'm used to seeing, and I'm not entirely sure why. I mean, Para's been at like more or less 500 manpower the whole time. Whoa, point-blank indirect fire barrage coming down here. Whoa, these Jaeger lights need to get out. There they go. That is a lot of damage if they get tagged by one of those shells, possibly a squad wipe in one kind of thing. But anyway, yeah, and there haven't been any particularly epic plays or bleeding of manpower from Disturbing that I've noticed. I mean, it's been fairly straightforward combat so far. So, I don't know, just maybe Para just getting unlucky with a few squad wipes, and that's leaving him with a very depleted-looking force. These conscripts are going to be able to grab the fuel point, so, you know, he's doing what he can, and he's still got a fuel point connected on the right, so the tacking for the Soviet player should be there. Whatever he wants to go for, he should be able to get. Now, if I were him, I would build the tank of the Mechanized Battle Battalion HQ, so you can start getting the T-34-85 rolling. That thing's a real beast, and it can bully a Panzer IV a little bit, especially when it has support, and there's a Zis gun on the field, so you know, that would do it, and a Suchka indeed, so a lot of support available for that T-34-85. Scoreline right now, 380 for the Allies, 452 for the Axis, so Disturbing, upping that lead to about a 72-point lead right now, which is pretty nice. Oh no, did the Axis player steal that mortar? Oh dearie me, this is the last thing you want to happen as a Soviet player. Overcommand forces with a stolen mortar can be, I mean, pretty punishing. It gives them access to things they don't normally have, things like smoke, gives them access to a mobile indirect fire platform that has the option to retreat. You know, just can be pretty good. This Su-76 is kind of being caught out here. He needs to keep reversing. He wants to start reversing it this way so he catches the Panzer IV in arc. Looks like he's just going to try and stop and turn. Oh no, the micro on this Panzer IV is just far too good. And it's going to take down, well, not far too good, it's just the micro on the Su-76, not quite good enough, but I mean, there wasn't a lot he could have done. At best, he would have got one more penetrating hit, but it all adds up, so, you know, worth playing for. Although I dare say his attention being taxed and strained elsewhere. So, Para right now, he's still floating this 500 manpower. I think he needs to, like, just put that into 2 conscript squads and come out all guns blazing, basically. And I still think going for the advanced warfare guy would have been better, because he can give your conscripts PPSHs as well as being able to repair your tanks, as well as the T-34-85 upgrade. So I kind of think that commander would have suited better. I haven't seen any of the abilities on this commander actually used so far, so I'm probably missing something somewhere, but I haven't seen any tangible benefit, let's put it that way, out of this commander yet. So picking it at a slightly odd timing. Now here comes an IL-2 run by, or an IL-2 strafing run, sorry. That's going to do good damage, almost getting the squad wipe on these Volks Grenadiers. Very close. So finally we see some use come out of this. 180 munitions! Oh, I see it. It loiters for a while. That's pretty cool. Alright, fair enough. So it's going to hang around, maybe get some hits on these Storm Pioneers, maybe get some more work done elsewhere. Whoa, what was that? Some mines come down. This Maxim's going to get, like, horribly mowed down. Storm Pioneer's going to get that, and maybe they'll seek to repair it. Panzer IV is getting pokey, looking into the opponent's base, and yeah, that is just going to be over. Para putting up a good display, but he's fighting 770 manpower here, and you know, you don't get to take that with you to the next game. You've got to spend it in the game. I mean, he died with 200 fuel and 770 manpower there, so not the best macro out of Para there, but still, you know, I've got to commend him. He did put up a good fight, and Disturbing is one of the better Overcommand players out on the ladder, so a fearsome opponent indeed. From Disturbing, I think it was a reasonable game. Again, I don't really agree with the positioning of this building here. But apart from that, it was good pressure across the board, and he did maintain like pretty much constant presence with their units all the way across the board, just being active and pushing and probing to find weaknesses. So yeah, I also think one other turning moment in this game was the loss of the flak half-track, which, yeah, had done well, but it could keep doing well. And having your flak half-track just out in the middle of the map up against Fog of War at that timing is a little risky. I would much rather, I mean, it could have been doing the same job if it was just positioned here facing south, and that way as soon as you see the Panzer IV, you can start backing it up, and friendly forces like the Suchka and the Ziskan are all much closer and things. So, I don't know, small things, but he might have been able to hold on to that flak track, and that's super useful for getting squad wipes, as we saw. So, could have changed things a little bit, could have changed things. I think also losing the mortar was turbo unlucky, and that mortar could have also done a lot of work for the Soviet player as the game went on. So, anyway, that one brings this battle to a close. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be bringing you more soon, and for now, this is Magpie842 signing out.